Recent census data showed that after the pandemic, relief programs like the expanded child tax credit and others that expired resulted in a increase, a sobering 15 million people in poverty. So my question, Ms. Strom, is yes or no, is it true that the same census data found that child poverty more than doubled from 2021 to 22 from a historic low of 5.2% to 12.4%?
Absolutely, I believe that's correct. It is the case that the enhanced child tax credit lifted 2.1 million children out of poverty, and I think the census report shows to us what happens when that expires.
And it seems like old inequalities that existed before the pandemic snapped back after pandemic programs expired. Black child poverty rose from 8.3% to 18.3%. Latino child poverty rose from 8.4% to 19.5% as examples. Ms. Strom, yes or no, is it true that Congress could have kept an additional 3 million children out of poverty had it extended the American Rescue's child tax credit?
Extending the child tax credit would indeed have a significant impact on children in poverty. There have been studies that have shown that if making the enhanced child tax credit permanent would have benefits to society that are 10 times the cost of the program. So I believe that making the enhanced child tax credit permanent is one significant thing you can do to help raise children out of poverty.
I appreciate that. And Ms. Puentes, yes or no, if a family has difficulty paying the bills, buying groceries, or struggling with medical conditions, does it make raising children more difficult and stressful?
Yes, very. I've found that. I've realized in my community, even talking with family and friends, it's hard nowadays just for one person to live off of just their income. And let's say you have a single father or a single mother. It's very hard to make ends meet with that. And I know that personally because when I was a single mother working as a housekeeper, I barely had food in my fridge. I had to go eat at my mother's place or my sister's place. And until I started to work at New Flyer, started to make more income, met my husband, got married. We now have, there's 2 of us who work for the same company. And now we're good. We're not stressed. But if that were to be taken away from it, it's very hard for just a single parent to make it. Very.
I appreciate Ms. Puentes. Ms. Strom, yes or no, while working people struggle, is it true that billionaires are a third richer now than they were before the pandemic?
It is certainly the case that economic inequality has increased significantly. And one of the things, I will say again that the programs that were put in place during the pandemic and to counter the pandemic luckily had an impact on reducing inequality overall. But certainly the extent to which the wealthy in this country are not paying their fair share of taxes is one of the really significant problems. The Council of Economic Advisors had released a report showing that the wealthiest 400 billionaires, I believe it's paid 8.2% of ineffective individual income taxes, which is significantly lower than most other Americans pay today. And so that's truly means that the wealthiest people in society are not paying much less into the federal coffers.
And as a follow-up of that, how does child poverty and this striking inequality undermine long-term economic growth?
Child poverty has a really significant impact on economic growth. So as I had mentioned in my testimony, one of the ways that economic inequality increases in economic growth is that you're not investing enough in human capital, and investing in children is one of the best ways you can invest in human capital. So when children have more, when they can thrive, when they can go on to go to college and make a better income, it's better for society as a whole. It makes them a more productive member of society. That's why there have been studies like that by Hilary Hoynes, who found that investing, for example, in SNAP benefits has 62 times the impact for society of the cost of SNAP. So for every dollar spent on SNAP, you get $62 in benefit for society. And that's when you take into consideration the fact that SNAP benefits make it more likely that children will go to college and other types of succeed in life in other kinds of ways.
And Ms. Puentes, how has your union job changed your ability to care for your children, and what does it mean for their future?
Once again, everything, right? Because of my union, I get better healthcare coverage, and which, not only healthcare coverage, but better wages. And it keeps us feeling stable, secure. Wages, healthcare, my 401k, being able to match 6%, I mean, I just feel comfortable. And that's exactly what the union has done for me. It makes me feel, that's why I say I'm proud to work at where I do. And the union has to do with that. It's just given me a sense of everything's gonna be okay.
I've offered Senator Braun one other round before we close. So Senator Braun, please proceed.